Yeah. This ain't about gossip. This ain't about noise. This about ownership. Clarity, strategy, power. Mind your business. Level up, no limits. Stop grinding in it. Start building a vision. CEO mindset. Boss moves relentless. Confusion. It's time to get intentional.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session of Gurll Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Cade, and today we have an exciting visitor. I'm so excited to have her. Look, you don't have to bury your voice. You don't have to shrink your story, and you don't have to let silence, the fear of silence, be your purpose. Write it anyway. That's what she said. I have today none other than Dr. Evelyn Bethune. She comes from one of the most powerful names in Black history, American history. And she spent her career making sure that stories that made history never got lost. We're talking about none other than Dr. Evelyn Bethune, who built Bethune Publishing House, not for the books, but for the people who has been waiting to hear them. Let me bring Dr. Evelyn to the stage so she can enlighten you on what her purpose is. Write it anyway.
Greetings and welcome. Thank you for welcome today.
I'm so excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about you. And, I have a cookie crumble, but we'll get to that at the end. Just tell us about Dr. Evelyn Bethune.
Well, I will tell you that I thought by now I would be retired and sitting on the beach, but the circumstance that we find ourselves in does not allow for that. Everybody that can do something needs to do something. And so that's where we are. I own a publishing company, the Film Publishing House, which is a delight for my soul. At least I get to do something that I really enjoy. And I believe carry forth the legacy of my family, my grandmother, and, just make sure that we know who we are as a people and that we have a platform to speak and to not be silenced and to not have history whitewashed or done away with. So I'm just grateful to be invited to this show, which is also a platform for voices to be heard.
Right. Now, I'm going to start off with the foundational question where I've been asked this so much. Now, you are the granddaughter of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, one of the most powerful women in America. And my platform, is for women. What does it mean to carry that name, the legacy, and the responsibility into your own life and business every day?
Well, I will tell you, it is heavy lifting. My grandmother left a legacy that is still echoing today. The fruit, the seeds that she planted are still being felt, and the institutions are still producing fruit. And so there is a responsibility that comes with that. I will tell you that any descendant of an American or an international icon feels the weight of that. And sometimes, it's okay. And then other days you just want to be incognito so you can do whatever it is you want to do in that moment. But you also have to accept the responsibility and move the legacy forward.
And that's so important. It's about continuation. That's what it is. Now, you say your message is simple. Write it anyway. What does that mean to the woman who's had a story just sitting inside of her for years, but never wrote it down?
And that sprang out of something that was my own personal story of everyone has always people that we grew up with, people that we know that know our legacy have taken advantage of the legacy of my grandmother. Everyone except her relatives. None of us had done anything to write about her, telling a story, even from my perspective. My dad was the only child. I grew up in the house with him. I grew up across the street from my grandmother. I knew her as my grandmother, but I had never, done anything publicly to write about her. And I'm a writer. I've been writing since kindergarten. And God just placed it in my spirit to, write this book about her. First book that I had ever attempted. And me and myself decided we were going to get everybody involved, get the whole family on board. And everybody's going to tell their piece. And I could not get that book moved. And just tired. I said to God one day, what's the problem? Okay, you told me to do this, and it's just not happening. And God, just like you talking to me, God, I said, I didn't give it to them. I gave it to you. Once I clearly understood the mission, I got it done. But it took me 8 years. And so I tell people, write it anyway. I don't care what the struggle is. I don't care what the obstacle is. If you have a story in you, write it. If you have a relative, a grandparent that's still alive, write their story. Copy that history, because when they're gone, it's gone. And you can't go get it. And so that slogan, write it anyway, means even if you've never read a writer, today you can talk it into the page. You don't have to write it. We carry a recorder in our hand every day in the form of a phone. Speak it. And it can find its way to the pages. But write it anyway. And bring that story, that history. And even if it's a novel, if it's science fiction, do it. If it's in your head, do it. Write it anyway.
You're just basically telling people they have permission to be heard.
Absolutely. Yes. Let nobody tell you that what you have to say does not have value.
Right. And so many times we do that. We allow other people to tell us who and what we are instead of doing what we need to do for ourselves.
Yeah, I find writing to be cleansing. Especially if I'm upset about something, I have tons of diaries. They're stacked in corners where I've been writing for years to just get stuff out of my system so I don't carry that. If I'm bothered, if something disturbs me, or even if I delight in something, just share that. Because people also need good stories. They need to have joyful stories to know that there is still joy in the world. And so just speak it. Just say what's going on. And speak from your heart. That's where the real story lies. That's how you connect with people. When you tell your story with the passion that you feel it. And not just try to get headlines. They get headlines on Facebook every day. What they want is that next layer. That next, that talks about how you felt about that. How did it affect what you were doing? How can what you're thinking help change the situation? My grandmother changed the world by moving on what can be placed in her.
Right.
And it wasn't easy. You talk about a Black woman from South Carolina, Maysville, South Carolina, who stood up in 1904 and said, I'm going to make a school for little Black children.
Right.
And the only land they sell her was a garbage dump. Okay. Today, that's the food company. And it's still producing students. Suppose she did just stay silent somewhere and then, just switch down the fact thing it was in her that said, do this.
Right.
They how many people's lives were changed by what she did, by her voice, because she decided to just speak, to just say, to just do.
Right.
That's one person.
One.
Right? If God placed it in there, He will give you what you need to make it happen. And it will be easy, but it'll happen.
He sure will. And that's if every one of us stop and think about what needs to be done, we could get so much.
Oh my goodness.
As much as she did, just being one person, if all of us did that.
And just think about how many of us got these great ideas that we sit on. And this time we look how somebody else did. But God gave it to us first, but we were scared to move on.
Well, I'm not sure if you want to talk about this film.
Yes, we're ready.
I just want to touch on that. Just tell us about the project and why this is so urgent right now.
Well, I will tell you, we had been working on this project, I would say probably about 5 years, trying to pull all the pieces together to find the right writer, to find, the right screen writer and then producer. And we are at the point now where we have a script, we have the screenplay, we have a producer, and we're ready to start casting. So now we're at that point of saying, listen, we want to do this movie and we need to raise some money because that is always you have to raise some money. And we have major studios that are interested, that want to bring us on board, but they want to change the things that we don't want to change because they like to add a lot of sizzle and recreate things that are not the truth. And in this particular environment, we are not going to do stereotypical things to Black people. We're not going to have Stephen Fletcher. We're not going to do blackface. We're not going to do, that's not Mary McLeod Bethune. So this movie, The Black Rose, which is our working title, we're raising money for pre-production and giving people an opportunity to participate in making this movie come to fruition. Someone reminded me about The Chosen, that is internationally a hit, and they raised money by people saving $5, $100, and they're in this series. And so we're like, well, we could do that. We're farmers, sometimes a farmer, and people know about her. We want to make sure that all the people know about her and know the magnitude of her life. She didn't just start college. She was an advisor before United States president. They listened to what she had to say. She started the Black cabinet. She was the only woman that Tuskegee Airplane would not have had the money to fly if it had not been relationship and friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt. And so there's so many stories like that that are part of her history that people just don't know. And so we want to bring it to the big screen. And then after that, we want a streaming platform so that we can give it that depth of expanding the characters and talking about all the things from relationship with Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, because she loved the arts and she loved music. And, I remember big bands coming to Berkeley Cookman when I was growing up. They had to stay on campus, but they couldn't stay in the hotels in Daytona. They could play there, they could perform there, but they couldn't stay on the beach. Mary McLeod Bethune made it possible for the have somewhere to stay. And for the Black community to have an opportunity to see them perform. Because, of course, Black people cannot go over on the beach side in Daytona and see these big artists. So they would perform for the gym at the Bethune Cookman. So the Black people could come and dance and enjoy the music and all those things. That is what set my grandmother's standards to make sure that we had opportunity. And they can put a statue in a museum, but it doesn't tell the story. It says that she did something wonderful. Well, what did she do? How did she do it? Where did she come from? Who were her parents? What did they do? There were so many bits and pieces that are so wonderful about my grandmother's story. Like her bravery, her willingness to stand up and say what needed to be said in rooms where she might have been the only Black person. And so our goal is to raise the first phase of this pre-production money and give community, the people, a chance to help make that happen. And so they can come to the site and I can give that information. Excuse me. They can contact me, Dr. Evelyn at greatnessdmna.com, and be a part of something that's going to be amazing. The Black Rose, Mary McLeod Bethune. I say this all the time. Before there was Martin, before there was Malcolm, there was Mary.
Yeah. Before we get back to the conversation, here's a quick reminder. Gurll Mind Your Business is where we help women amplify their voice, own their message, and show up with confidence. Through real conversation, strategy, and powerful insights, we help you get clear, get visible, and build with purpose. If you're ready to stop shrinking, start speaking, and turn your voice into impact, you're in the right place. Gurll Mind Your Business, where we help you amplify your voice and mind your business. And that's great. It's just amazing. This is not just a film or movie project. It's a preservation of her mission and what she stood for. Because, I know myself, I was not her granddaughter, but I know she shaped education, civil rights, women's leadership, voting rights, and national policy. And she was just one person. And I'm just so excited that we are friends. And
Absolutely.
and you know what's amazing? I carried my grandson to Tuskegee University. They always say, let's do a road trip.
Yes.
To take them to the HBCUs down there. And we went, and when we saw her name was on one of the street markers. And he said, well, who is that? Oh, that was my opportunity. I told him about, her, George Washington Carver, and Booker T. Washington.
Yes.
You know what his response was? I didn't know that because they don't teach us that in school. That's where the problem is. Most people wait on their kids to learn something at school instead of telling them themselves. Because if we don't educate our kids, nobody else is.
It is our job. And if we sit back and wait for somebody else to tell our story, we won't recognize it when it gets told, if it gets told at all. And that is one of the reasons that I find it to be so important for us to write it anyway, to film it anyway, to record it anyway, to tell it. Wherever I go, I will tell these stories because I don't know who's listening. I don't know who needs to understand that there is nothing new in your world. We have been amazing people since the beginning of time. And someone decided to try to erase that and make us feel like our history started on plantation with enslavement. It didn't. They didn't take the weak people. They came and stole the best of the best. And we built this country. And we have to know that. We have to know the power where we began and accomplishments. We discovered math and science. It's our navigation acronym that helped them, understanding the movement of the stars and how to navigate at night. That is African. That came off out of Africa. We were sailing boats. We were doing all kinds of things. But if we don't know our history, we don't know that. And that's why it's so important for us to tell our children and not wait until they're grown-ups. Thinking that somebody else is going to tell them. My dad used to tell us the slave master will never teach you how to be free.
Exactly. Not at all. That's right.
So that is why that's what I do.
I know. So you have a favorite saying, AI is not the devil.
Right.
What is the one thing most small business owners get wrong about AI?
They have had somebody tell them, you can't do that. First of all, it's going to cost too much. And you know they're going to get in your business and you're going to get hacked. And they're going to take all your money. Stop. Just stop. Small business owners have to understand that technology, automation can help you run your business at a level that is amazing. It can do all those emails that are stuck, that you get 30,000 sitting in your inbox that you have to look at. Okay, it can send messages and nurture your clientele and help you build advertisement that you don't even have the skill base to do. Today, you can talk to your AI and get your platforms built. You don't have to know how to code. You don't have to know all the technical terms. All you have to do is know how to speak. And it's affordable. It is that one thing that levels the playing ground for small business to be able to get out there and do something and have time to have a life. Because most small business owners work themselves to death and still don't get to the level that they're trying to get to because they just physically cannot do it all by themselves. AI, modern technology, building agencies, being able to produce advertising, marketing pieces, and those visible things, but also that in-house, back office, being able to do your records, your books with QuickBooks that's automated. You don't have to sit down to the desk with a pen and pencil or try to figure out where something should go. Your AI can do that. It can answer your phones. It can send out messages. It can keep you on track. So you can get up from your desk because you've been sitting there for 4 hours and take a break. Those are the kinds of things that we can't be afraid of. We have to remember that we didn't always have a cell phone. And when they first came out, nobody wanted one. Now we can't live without them. You take somebody's cell phone now, almost have a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
But AI, that thing that you can use it in ways that enhance your business. It's not the devil. It's like everything else. You have to be in control of it or it will control you. It's just as so.
It's actually a tool that just opened the door and they don't realize it. But, some people just so afraid anything they don't have the knowledge of, they steer away from. And it's not something you need to be scared of.
Not at all. But for many cases, we take the word of someone else without going for ourselves. The word of God tells us to study to share ourselves and that we should know the word of God for ourselves. Well, the same is for the technology that's going on around us. Because one thing we know for sure, if we are not in the room or at the table, we will eat the meal. And so we have to be about understanding it, knowing what the good and the bad is. You can't strategize about things that you don't know about. And so we want to be at the cutting edge of new innovation. We have to understand it. And you're never too old. You are never too old to learn. I'm 74. And I am so excited about what the possibilities are as it relates to AI and AI agency technology. And we have to tell our children because that's where the jobs are. Entry-level jobs are going to be a thing in the past. There's not going to be any secretaries and any, in office stuff going on. It will be a person who, making sure that AI is what it's supposed to do. So they have to understand the industry that they're getting ready to go into and live into so that they can find employment or create employment, create businesses so that they have control of their future.
That's right. Because, like you said, our history must stay alive. Whether we use AI, whether we use books, museums, whatever we do, we got to keep it alive in videos, conversations, businesses. We have got to come together. Back in the day, everybody came together, everybody helped each other. We've got to get back there.
Absolutely.
In this environment, if we don't stick together, it's going to be a lost cause.
The greatest weapon that the other side has is teaching us to hate each other or not trust each other. Because in the chaos of that, while we're battling each other, they're taking our technology, they're taking our knowledge, they're taking all the skills that we have and using it for their good. And we look up and they are taking what we have and used it for their benefit.
Right. And then turn around and use it against us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we winding down. This was great, Dr. Evelyn. You got to come back. Anytime. So what is one thing, on Mondays, I have a cookie crumble for that new episode that's coming out. What is one thing you want to say to the women listening right now who have not started writing, recording, preserving her own story?
That one thing is it will not happen if you are just thinking about it. Every good plan has to have an action step. Write it anyway.
That's good. That's good. So, and just to reiterate, your message is do not bury your voice. Do not shrink. Do not keep your story hidden.
Never step back. It never be signed.
That's right. Write it anyway. Dr. Evelyn, I have really enjoyed you today.
The feeling is mutual, my sister.
Yes. You know what we always say, we got to catch up. But if you've enjoyed today's conversation with Dr. Evelyn, share, like, comment. Dr. Evelyn has given her link. I will also put it down in the episode so you'll know how to reach Dr. Evelyn. Don't bury your voice. Don't shrink your story. And don't let your silence go away. Write it anyway. Now, if you have any closing remarks, Dr. Evelyn, let's hear them.
We are the most powerful people on the planet. Don't let anybody tell us that or tell you that you're not worthy, that you can't get it done. We've been doing it for others for generations. It's time now for us to do it for ourselves.
Right, right. And we need to understand when we tell our story, it needs to be heard, not just in the house, in the bathroom, on the phone. It needs to be heard by everyone.
Yes.
And you can follow Dr. Evelyn Bethune at the History in the Making.
History in the Making Cartoon Network. I'm on Facebook. I have a LinkedIn page. And just, as they say, call Dr. Evelyn at greatnessdna.com.
All right. Well, I will add those links and thank you for sharing this time with us today.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. All right.